that because of the changes in the political landscape, combined with developments in the 9/11 Truth movement, we now have, really for the first time, a realistic chance of getting a genuine investigation. I turn now to my topic: why official conspiracy theorists should take a second look at 9/11. I use the term official conspiracy theorists advisedly. Quite often, people who believe the official theory about 9/11 speak contemptuously of members of the truth movement as conspiracy theorists. But this is irrational. A conspiracy occurs whenever two or more people plan in secret to do something illegal, such as rob a bank or defraud a corporation's investors. To hold a conspiracy theory about some event is simply to believe that that event came about because of some such planning. According to the Bush-Cheney interpretation of 9/11, the attacks resulted from a conspiracy between Osama bin Laden and 19 members of Al-Qaeda. This official account is therefore a conspiracy theory. What this means is that everyone holds a conspiracy theory about 9/11. The debate about 9/11 is therefore not a debate between conspiracy theorists and people who reject conspiracy theories. It is simply a debate between those who accept the Bush-Cheney conspiracy theory and those who accept the alternative theory, according to which 9/11 happened as a result of a conspiracy within the Bush-Cheney administration. Those who believe the official conspiracy theory, therefore, cannot rationally reject the alternative theory on the grounds that it is a conspiracy theory. To be rational, they must ask, which theory is better supported by the relevant facts? And once they are willing to ask this question and then to look at the facts, the game is up, because the facts are overwhelmingly against the official conspiracy theory. Let me make clear that I do not use the term official conspiracy theory as a term of reproach. There's nothing wrong with believing the official theory. I accepted it at one time myself, in fact, for the first year and a half, before I looked at the evidence. It is only a problem if you are a true believer, meaning that you are so certain that the Bush-Cheney conspiracy theory is true that you refuse to look at evidence that might contradict it. One reason why it is irrational to keep believing the Bush-Cheney conspiracy theory without being willing to look at new evidence is that there are now grounds for being skeptical of that theory that did not exist at the time that this theory became imprinted on most minds. At that time, for example, it was not known that the Bush-Cheney administration would tell enormous lies that would lead to millions of deaths, including thousands of American deaths. But we now know this. Besides the lies about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, the White House after 9/11 ordered the Environmental Protection Agency to lie about the air at the World Trade Center site, to say that the air was safe to breathe, which it was not, and they knew it. As a result, about 60% of the 40,000 ground zero workers, those who worked in the rescue and the cleanup operations, are ill if they have not died already. And the number of those who will die from these illnesses will probably far exceed the number of people who died on 9/11 itself. These people were also murdered. In the face of this information, it would be difficult to claim that the Bush-Cheney administration would have been morally incapable of orchestrating 9/11 and its cover-up. Now, I realize that for this audience, I probably don't need to make this point. But in America, many people still believe the Bush-Cheney administration was simply too moral, too Christian to have done such a heinous thing. We also now have reasons, not widely known at the time, to be skeptical of the official reports. Most people have assumed that the 9/11 Commission was run by its co-chairman, former Republican Governor Thomas Kean and former Democratic Congressman Lee Hamilton. They have thought of it, therefore, as an independent, nonpartisan, impartial commission. But the 9/11 Commission was actually run by Philip Zelikow. He controlled the 85-person staff, which did all the work. And he was in charge of producing the 9/11 Commission report. And yet he was essentially a member of the Bush-Cheney White House, being especially close to Condoleezza Rice, with whom he had co-authored a book. This is the same Condoleezza Rice about whom it has just come out in the past couple weeks that she authorized torture. Thanks to a book about the 9/11 Commission by New York Times reporter Philip Sheenan, we now know that Zelikow, in spite of promises to the contrary, remained in contact with Rice and also with Karl Rove, the ultimate political operator in the White House. Sheenan, during all the time that Zelikow was running the commission, he was interacting with them. Sheenan also revealed that before Zelikow's staff had even had its first meeting, Zelikow had already written a detailed outline of the 9/11 Commission report, complete with chapter headings, subheadings, and sub-subheadings. Sheenan also revealed that Kean and Hamilton conspired with Zelikow to keep the fact of this outline a secret from their staff. In a book they wrote about the 9/11 Commission, Kean and Hamilton criticized conspiracy theorists because, rather than forming their theories on the basis of facts, they start with their theories and then look for facts to support them. By contrast, Kean and Hamilton claimed the 9/11 Commission started with the relevant facts, not with a conclusion. We were not setting out to advocate one theory or interpretation of 9/11 versus another, they wrote. And yet, they admit, Zelikow assigned the subject of Al-Qaeda to one of the staff's teams, which was told to tell the story of Al-Qaeda's most successful operation, the 9/11 attacks. If that was not starting with a conclusion about 9/11, what would be? If the 9/11 Commission was not independent of the Bush-Cheney White House, what about NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, which prepared the official reports on the destruction of the World Trade Center? NIST is an agency of the U.S. Department of Commerce. During the years it was preparing its reports, therefore, NIST was an agency of the Bush-Cheney administration, run by an appointee of that administration. Recently, a former employee of this agency,